Yo, what's up, guys? It's NLW here with another edition of the NLW podcast, number 11, I believe, this time. So, yeah, got a couple of things to talk about this week, including the aftermath of WrestleMania, what's been going on AEW, what are the future plans for Ring of Honor, and also I'll be giving you some updates as to what's been happening for NLW filming and what's happened in the aftermath of Metal Wrestling being released last Saturday, what's going to happen with the future of NLW, and I'll give you an update as to what I'm working on. So, yeah, we'll start off with what we always do on the NLW podcast, and I'll start off with what I'm personally working on with NLW stuff. So, last night, I don't want to say I had a breakdown, but I definitely had like a moment where I wanted to reevaluate some stuff. So, before I felt I was maybe pushing myself too hard with the NLW stuff, and I might have touched on it a little bit last week, but now I've kind of settled on a new format that I think is going to work for NLW and Metal episodes. So I used to try and cram as many matches as possible in there, but judging by the response to Metal Wrestling on Saturday, I think that was like the perfect formula, because I had 3 matches and they all, had good qualities to them, and then also there was like different kinds of promos and things. So because you guys responded well to that, I think that's kind of the format I want to go moving forward. I might not just have for every episode like 5 matches, because that's just too much pressure for me personally to kind of film on a consistent basis, and hopefully with maybe sometimes just 2 matches on a show just that are like pure quality. The quality over quantity thing is something that I'm trying to like get right in terms of like a balance. So I think for NLW 103, I know I've got 3 matches planned for that. One of them might be a little bit shorter than I intended, but I'll try and make sure that it's still, entertaining to watch, and that's what I'm going to prioritize over making sure, I need to have all of these dream matches, because sometimes it's just better to progress the story. So, yeah, I am looking forward, actually, because I'm trying to film a bunch of stuff. In fact, I've got a schedule up for me personally in terms of what I want to do. So I've got like a filming list. So there's NLW 24/7 stuff that I want to get done. Do tune in to NLW 24/7 this week, by the way, because I'll be announcing 2 big matches for the next couple of weeks. NLW 103 as well is something I'm going to get started on soon. So that'll be, the main event of that. I'm trying to remember now. Oh yeah, Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. So yeah, thanks WWE for stealing my idea. But yeah, I'm going to do it again in NLW. And there's also Adam Cole versus Leo Rush, I believe, and Ty Conti versus Ronda Rousey, and a couple of other segments that I've got planned for that show. Some big news is going to be going down on that NLW 103 show, so take a look at that. And also, obviously, if you haven't seen it already, Metal Wrestling on Saturday, an hour long. One of my favourite videos I've made in a very long time, just because of how all the different bits and pieces came together. It was something new, something different. I was having fun filming in the 6-sided ring, and I think now on the road to the pay-per-view Revival coming up in June, hopefully, there's going to be a lot of big matches and big moments on that show that will have a big impact on the WrestleMania card. And speaking of WrestleMania 5, my show that I'm going to be releasing, that I'm planning on being released in like October, November, so I know it's a very long time away, but I feel like it'll be a great season finale at the end before I start like a new batch of storylines, if you see what I mean. So yeah, you'll see a lot of NLW versus Metal stuff on that show. Like already we've got, for the Mania card I'm planning, I've got Finn Balor and Jeff Hardy announced. CM Punk challenged Conor McGregor, so you might expect to see that. Not really a spoiler, but hey. Yeah, so Punk versus McGregor. Also, Keith Lee and Seth Rollins, NLW versus Metal. And there's another couple of matches that I'm going to announce in the next coming weeks, so do make sure you check that out. And also, I completely forgot that the 10-year anniversary of NLW is in like 2 months, so I'm going to make a show for that. Like a little one, a mini one, where I have 1 or 2 big matches. So I'm thinking at the moment I might do like a rematch of the very first episode, a very first match in NLW actually, Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio, because Orton, I think I might bring him back for like a 1 night only type deal, and then Rey Mysterio, obviously a member of the roster at the moment, so I think that'll be fun to do and kind of remake that for the 10-year anniversary. But because it's in June and that's when Revival's happening, I think I might do a storyline where Triple H is going to run the show opposite Revivals, so they're happening at the same time. I think that'd be a cool idea. But, let me know what you think. I think it would also break up the Revival videos, because if I'm releasing them in parts, it might be fun to have, like, a mini video just in between there, you know what I mean? So, that's what I've got planned. I've also got more Raw Ruthless and Raw SmackDown Ruthless to come. For the people who did watch Raw and SmackDown Ruthless last week, thank you very much for checking it out. I had a lot of fun filming it, because it is different to film with these, like, Jax figures, and it does feel like... speaking of old NLW, like feels like old school NLW in a way, because I used to use a lot of Jax figures, and using those again brought back a lot of memories for me. So I'm having loads of fun kind of writing storylines for it, and I'm actually rewatching like loads of old videos and old pay-per-views. So I actually went back and watched Judgment Day 2004 because I'd never seen that show before, and I'd only heard bad things because I don't think SmackDown in 2004 was that hype. But this show was pretty good. Like, it had Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio versus the Dudleys, Undertaker versus Booker T, and Eddie Guerrero versus JBL in the main event. I forgot how, like, that was a really, really good match. Like, going back and watch it. And just aside from the vicious chair shot where Eddie is bleeding, and it really does, and he's just gushing blood, it plays into the story really well. So do go and watch that pay-per-view. I think is really good, personally. Like, maybe not underrated because it wasn't great, but it was still like an entertaining watch, from start to finish. And at only 2.5 hours, can't really complain. But yeah, that gave me kind of more inspiration to do actual pay-per-views for the Raw Ruthless series. So in about 4 to 6 weeks, I'm going to do Backlash and Judgment Day for NLW Ruthless. They'll be on the same day, so it'll be Backlash on the Monday and then Judgment Day on the Friday. And it'll just be like a kind of an extended edition, really, where I have like the big matches on there, because if I didn't have them, I know people would be a bit upset, and that's part of the charm of the Ruthless Aggression era, in my opinion, is the brand exclusive shows. So that's what I'm going to do. What else am I working on? It's pretty much it at the moment. Like, in the next couple of weeks, I've got like a list of what I want to get done. So whether that be videos for NLW Figs, this channel, and as well as like bonus videos. So today I should have released like a Metal Media Scrum where it kind of recaps all the stuff that happened on Metal. That was, an idea I had just to get kind of like a recap going, just to kind of jog people's memories, and what other stuff. And I've got like figure reviews and room tours and all that jazz. So, yeah, an exciting time. Personally, I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing at the moment. Hopefully that kind of continues, because I did have a bit of burnout, and you know what burnout feels like. It kind of sucks the wind out of you, really, in terms of like creativity. So I'm happy that I got the show done, the metal show, and it was a success, and people really dug the main event and the shocking ending, which I won't spoil here if you've not seen it, but all I'll say is go back and watch Metal Wrestling. I really enjoyed making it, and I'm hoping some of the best matches I think I've done for like a TV show, so pretty cool. In terms of figure news, that's what we usually come on to next. Not really a lot in the name of like releases and kind of exclusive shots. So I think a couple of things went up for pre-order last week, which I talked about. Obviously, they did the WrestleMania reveals, which was so many new Ruthless Aggression figures and all that stuff. I can tell you a little bit of figure news personally. Like, I just got the Barbed Wire Blood and Guts set, and I'll put a review of that up on my channel maybe this week or next week. So do look out for that, because it's got a lot of stuff in there that I didn't even realise it had when I bought it, but very cool kind of accessory pack to have. Other figures I've bought, I haven't really gotten a lot recently. Like, I pre-ordered some stuff last week. I actually cancelled one of my pre-orders. It was like the MSK, the Edge, and the Thunder Rosa and Eddie Kingston. Not because of anything like, that's happened in real life, just because I felt like I could probably use that money in my bank rather than on toys for that instance. But yeah, I'm trying to be kind of frugal, more frugal with my cash at the moment, because bills to pay, man. Like, it is what it is. But I think that, yeah, maybe me buying figures before, I enjoyed getting the ones I had, and like I was using them all, but it got a bit out of hand. And likewise today, I looked at a website, and they were selling some really good Legends figures, like the DDP, the new Jake Roberts ones, like the regular and the Chase, and they were selling for a fairly low amount, which I thought, it's tempting, but 30 quid a figure? No, I can't do it right now. Maybe in future if I get, if I win the lottery, obviously, but doesn't seem like that's happening at the moment. But if you do want to support my figure addiction, I'm joking, by the way, or like just support me and the channel, really, you can sub to the Patreon. Again, like massive shouts outs. I'll do the big shouts outs at the end for you guys on Patreon. And likewise as well, the NLW merch store. So the link to that will be in the description. I think you should still be able to get the 10% off if you use the code METAL10. If not, like, if you do want to buy something, you can DM me and I probably will give you a code. Because if you're listening to this podcast, you must be, I don't know, somewhat of a supporter of me. So yeah, if you ever did want a personal custom code, I'll do like 20% off for the Patreons. But if you want like a cheeky 5% off, just hit me up, give me a message on Instagram or something if you do want something, because, yeah, I'm fine to do a deal. People have already bought merch as well, by the way, which is really cool. Didn't really, I wasn't expecting anything really. I just thought I'd put it out there and see if people wanted it. But, yeah, so thank you if you have bought merch and you're listening. It really does help the channel, and I appreciate it as well. And if you've got any suggestions for merch that you might want in the future, like designs and things, leave them in the comments, because, if you want it, chances are someone else will. So, yeah, that helps the channel. It helps me out as well. It gives me a bit of extra cash I can put in the pocket, for like bills and kind of utilities and stuff like that. But yeah, helps me out very much, and it means I don't have to work in my day job as much, hopefully. But we'll see. We'll see with that. But yeah, that's really all that there is for figure news. We'll go on to wrestling news now, and the reason I wanted to kind of title the video the weird NXT call-ups was because I watched SmackDown for the first time in probably since the first episode they brought crowds back. That was the last full episode I watched, and I decided I'd go on it. There's a YouTube channel. I don't want to shout it out because I don't want them to be taken down for copyright. But they show the full some of the full highlights from Raw and SmackDown, 60 FPS, HD, all that jazz. Just like the main matches in full, and you can whiz through SmackDown in about 30 to 40 minutes, and it's great. And I tried watching that, and you know what? In a bite-sized chunk, it ain't too bad. And if you go into it thinking, oh, this is going to be terrible, it's not as bad as you think it is. I mean, it is bad, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be a diehard anytime soon, but I enjoy watching it for what it is. And again, I'm going to be doing a video on this actually later this week, maybe next week, where it's 5 positives I took away from WWE this week. Because obviously WrestleMania was, a lot of people thought it was great. I'm not going to sit through 4 hours, but I can appreciate, the spectacle of it and the kind of entertainment value of it. And yeah, basically what the video is going to be is, people say, oh, the wrestling's not that great. Well, there's plenty of other places that do the wrestling great. You've got AEW, New Japan. There's so many options out there if you want great wrestling. I don't know if WWE offers anything too different, but they do have a certain style which is unique to them. So, whether you love it or you hate it, it is different. And you know what, in many ways it is entertaining to watch, and I like the guys on there. And yeah, what my main takeaway was how weird the kind of transition between the developmental and the main roster is now. Because you had that kind of similarly in the Ruthless Aggression era, where you had a guy who would be in OVW, but obviously when he came to the main roster, no one would know who he is. But now with an increased social media presence, they're trying to still pretend that these guys aren't well known. Walter, again, I've seen the argument. Walter, probably, if they were to change it from Gunther to Walter, you might have the same complaints. But my opinion of it is, even if it was a bad name, it was his name, it was his brand. I think to change it to Gunther is a bit silly, because you're just ignoring everything that's happened before. And, likewise with Pete Dunne and Butch. I don't know why you can call someone Ridge Holland and not call Pete Dunne. Call him Bruiser or Bruiserweight. Again, I'm dead set on the name Bruiser. Why didn't you call him Bruiser? It's such a cool name. But oh well. Butch, it's fine. We're over it now. Just happy to see Pete Dunne being used in a main roster storyline, even if he did lose. But yeah, I will go into more detail on my WWE Positives video. I don't want to be talking about it too much here, but yeah, a very strange kind of. And again, Raquel Gonzalez coming to the main roster and saying how Gonzalez was a key part of her kind of history, her family history. Her dad was called Gonzalez, or nicknamed Speedy Gonzalez, and she wanted that importance. And now she's Rodriguez, and it just seems a bit weird and unnecessary, to do that. So, very strange. And then no continuity, because she was just tag team champion with Dakota Kai. So there's a lot of logic holes, but if you switch your brain off completely, you can enjoy WWE in a bite-sized format. That's just my opinion, and that will be the gist of the video that I release. later on. But yeah, honestly, you know what? I'm just happy to see that they're getting paid and they're doing well, but that's really all that there is for WWE. You've also got the return of Cody Rhodes on Monday. He kind of teased that he would be going for the WWE Championship, and that would be the storyline moving forward. I expect to see Roman versus Cody at SummerSlam, but that's just me. We'll also see Cody in action on Raw against The Miz. So depending on how that went, we'll see what happens. And again, we'll talk about AEW now, actually, because AEW had a killer week this week. I thought Dynamite was really good. They're advancing a bunch of stories from other wrestlers as well that they're showcasing. FTR and the Young Bucks in the main event was very, very good as well. Great tag team wrestling. And I think the main real story from AEW this recently is first of all, Samoa Joe and Minori Suzuki next week. Oh my God, sign me up. I cannot wait for that one. And it really makes me interested to see what they're going to do with Ring of Honor. I'm much more excited for it now that Wheeler Yuta, which I'll get onto in a moment, is being pushed in a high-profile position. Likewise, I expect Joe will win the TV title on Dynamite, but who knows at this point. They do have a lot of wrestlers, but I feel like they use them for the most part in a good capacity. At least they're finally using Jay Lethal now. He's in a storyline. He's going to be featured heavily with Ring of Honor, so it does take a while sometimes that they can't be just hot out of the gate. But you know what? I quite like that in some ways because it means you get used to people, and yeah, I don't know. Like, there is some stuff though that annoys me about AEW, like every company really. But I just sit back and turn your brain off and watch it. It's fine. Rampage though, finally they're making Rampage worth watching again. Next week, Adam Cole versus Adam Page, Texas Deathmatch on Rampage. Finally, they've listened to me and they've realised that they have to make an effort with Rampage. Otherwise, people just won't watch it. So yeah, happy that they're doing that match on Rampage, and happy that they're kind of using it more in a high-profile sense, especially last week with the story arc of the Blackpool Combat Club and the Best Friends, and Wheeler Yuta coming out of that match looking like a star. So we'll move on to match and wrestler of the week because it's a good segue. Match of the week will be Wheeler Yuta versus Jon Moxley. Just fantastic, and I've seen Wheeler Yuta a little bit before, but not in a real kind of high-profile capacity. Like his match against Danielson was really good, but this one, oh my God, Moxley beat the hell out of him. He was bloodied, he was beaten, was Yuta, and just seeing him go through all of that. He's the pure champion as well now, so he'll probably be a focal point of Ring of Honor, kind of being developed there, and maybe a Ring of Honor wing of the Blackpool Combat Club would be really sick. But yeah, he earned the respect of William Regal and Wheeler Yuta. Immediately he's a star, so they know how to put stars over in a really short period of time, and I think that's one of the biggest strengths that AEW has, is being able to take these kind of lesser known talents. They take loads of people from WWE, of course they do. It's just business, and if there's good wrestlers out there, they'll take them. But a guy like Wheeler Yuta, who's only had a little bit of exposure, on the Indies and Ring of Honor before, but then just to strap a rocket to him immediately, because he's not been doing anything in AEW for years, or at least a year, and now he's finally signed, he's there, he's a champion, and he's a star, he's made, and yeah, I cannot wait to see what Wheeler Yuta does from here. This Blackpool Combat Club, such a simple idea on paper, but when it's executed, it really is the makings of a really good thing. So yeah, great stuff. And I would say Wheeler Yuta would be my wrestler of the week, but I feel like that would be maybe too obvious. So instead, I'll go with oh man, I don't know. I don't want to pick Cody Rhodes because that feels too obvious as well. But again, Cody, he's not really changed a lot, and I think that's good. He knows what he wants, and I think the character that he's got translates better in WWE than it did in AEW. I don't like that people are oh, well, this is what AEW fans get for booing him, now he's ours, and it's well, I don't know. I didn't like him in AEW towards the end. I like him now because I think he's fresher in this environment. He did feel very out of place in AEW, in my opinion, and that's why I think this is a great career move for him to keep his trademark, be treated like a star, and go over back to the WWE and do what he wants to do. And fair play to him, he's done it. Again, you need to switch your brain off, because you see WWE fans being attacked, you see AEW fans being attacked, and it's just wrestling at the end of the day. It really doesn't matter, guys. I probably as a teenager I was very I don't know, opinionated about wrestling, but now I just don't care. You just watch it and just enjoy it for what it is. And that's why I'm going to not get back into WWE properly, but I'm going to definitely keep up with the product more than I have been, because, you know, sometimes it is just fun to watch like a show that is so chaotic, I guess, you know, like a morbid curiosity in a way. So yeah, Cody, honourable mention, Yuta, honourable mention, but I think I'll give it to FTR because their match against the Young Bucks was great. So I guess technically wrestlers of the week, but FTR put in a great shift against the Young Bucks, and really, like, surprisingly very over baby faces. If you just beat people up, I guess that gets you over, and they've done that. Like last week, beating the Briscoes in a great match, again following it up with the Young Bucks. So FTR, my wrestlers of the week, for being such over baby faces and being so popular. Like, the roles completely switched with the Young Bucks now, where they're the faces and the high flying Young Bucks are the heels. Like, I really like that dynamic, and I know a lot of people, other people do as well. Like, great tag team fundamentals that they've got, and it's just good to see them. Oh, dude, I want them to be AEW champions again, like tag champions, but, you know, the Ring of Honor, I think they'll do well there. I'd love to see them hold all the championships, but yeah, maybe I'm just being greedy on that part. But that's it for wrestling this week, really. We'll go through the last segments of this podcast here with the NLW updates, Patreon shouts-outs, and the question of the week. But first of all, we'll go to NLW updates. So what's coming out on the channel this week? Well, you remember the schedule, so Raw Ruthless comes every 2 weeks. So this week, on the Monday, I will have released the Metal Media Scrum, and obviously if you've not seen Metal last week, go and watch that, and watch the Metal video I put out on Monday. On Tuesday, that's today, and I'm releasing this podcast, Wednesday, you'll see NLW 24/7, and I'll show you the Points of Authority Aftermath. By the way, if you've not seen Points of Authority, go and check that show out as well. I really enjoyed making that. And NLW 24/7, this week I'll announce the next 2 big matches for NLW 24/7 that you won't want to miss. And then Friday and Thursday, I'm going to be releasing some stuff on this channel, maybe like a figure review or something else. I'm not too sure at the moment, but stay tuned. And next Saturday will be what happened after Metal Wrestling went off the air. So it will be like something that, you know, it was big at the time, and then it kind of continues. There's a little bit of bonus stuff in there that you'll want to see and catch. And then I'm also going to be kind of starting off a new story arc with a certain wrestler. So do check out the Metal Aftermath this week. And then the week after will be the Road to Vegas special, where I preview NLW 103. And then in around 3 weeks' time, it should be around 3 weeks' time from last Saturday, it will be NLW 103. So that'll be, hopefully, fingers crossed, at the end of the month if I can start filming it now. And before we get on to question of the week, I'll give my Patreon shouts out. So thank you to, if I can get them up on my phone here. Yeah, thank you to Clarence Morris III, John Cringegod, Remy Montoya, Anthony Hill, Brady Babcock, Brandon Furman, Casey Hellschool, Cupid, Devin Downlin, Flynn Lampkin, Cameron Joyner, PTW Animations, Ryan McCarthy, ES Productions, Outros World, and Kids Zap. Thank you all for being patrons. If you want to be a patron and support the channel for a little cost, head over to my Patreon. The link is in the description. Obviously, I've got a bunch of cool exclusives on there that you might want to see, so worth checking out. And if you want to check out some of my NLW merch, just head over to the merch store, which is linked in the description. And we've got our question of the week. Have I still got them up on my phone? It doesn't look like I have, but we will see. I know I've got one somewhere. Crisscross Applesauce on Instagram asked, do you like Hook? Yes, I think Hook is great. I love the chip thing he's doing. I'm very interested to see what he's doing with Danhausen at the moment as well. I think that having Danhausen kind of explain his character a little bit more through Hook would be very interesting. Hook, though, very cool. Even though he's more of a meme, or he was at this point, he's still got that aura about him where he doesn't wrestle that much. He only wrestles on Rampage. And I think that, with the right booking and the right kind of push, he could be a main star on AEW, Ring of Honor, or wherever. So very interested to see where Hook goes in the near future. But I like that they're keeping the mystique about him for now. You don't want to push him too far too early, and I think that they've got that kind of level of mystique around him perfect at the moment. So good on Hook. I hope he does more in the wrestling business. But that is it for the podcast. Thank you all for listening. I'll be back next week to talk about more wrestling, I guess. I'll be giving you updates as to what I've been working on for NLW 103, and maybe even some more WrestleMania 5 NLW updates. Oh, look out for it and stay tuned. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you guys later.